Hello everyone, I'm meteorologist Charlie Ironmonger. Thank you so much for joining me today for your 1 p.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. Now we've got news out of Wake County where a state senator was arrested over the weekend on suspicion of DWI. He was arrested by the Highway Patrol, that is, State Senator Norman Sanderson was arrested by the Highway Patrol near the intersection of Edwards Mill Road and Trinity Road. Court records show that Sanderson took a breathalyzer test and blew a .16, which is twice the legal limit. Now, the senator faces 3 misdemeanor charges of driving while impaired, open container of alcohol, and failure to obey traffic officer, according to magistrates' records. Now, Sanderson, a Republican, represents District 2, which includes Carteret, Chowan, Halifax, Hyde, Pamlico, Warren, and Washington counties. Sanderson was given a $2,000 bond and has a court appearance scheduled for November 7th. And now we want to highlight the meeting that happened last Friday between President Trump and President Zelensky of Ukraine as President Trump continues to try to push towards a peace agreement between Russia and Ukraine. NBC's Keir Simmons has more.
This morning, President Trump pushing for peace in Ukraine.
Let's go home, stop killing people, and be done.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio is expected to meet with Russian officials this week to plan a high-stakes second summit between President Trump and President Putin in Budapest. Despite a Washington Post report citing 2 senior administration officials familiar with last week's call that the Russian leader demanded major territorial concessions, including full control of the Donetsk region, in exchange for peace. Russia currently controls a large portion of land in eastern Ukraine, and President Trump appeared to suggest on Air Force One that Ukraine could have to make some concessions.
78% of the land is already taken by Russia. You leave it the way it is right now. They can negotiate something later on down the line.
In an exclusive interview with Meet the Press, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky rejecting any agreement that would give Russia more land than its forces currently hold, and saying a ceasefire must come before negotiations.
Peace talks have to be in quiet situation, not under missiles, not under drones.
Zelensky met with President Trump in Washington, hoping to persuade the US to send long-range Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine, which now seems unlikely.
The President of the United States is trying to ensure that America's security is taken care of first, and obviously that means that we need to have the critical weapon systems for our own military.
Russia has bombed Ukraine nearly every day since the last time Trump and Putin met in Alaska in August. Ukraine fighting back over the weekend, using drones to strike a vital Russian gas plant. But Zelensky says a diplomatic end to the war may still be possible.
Do you think President Trump can end the war in Ukraine?
God bless. God bless, yes.
And again, that was Keir Simmons reporting. We now turn to your weather forecast. It's looking very blue out there today, and that's going to be a trend we see carry over throughout the entirety of the work week, even into the upcoming weekend. Let's take a look at some of those sunny skies outside right now. This is our Greenville cam at Pitt Greenville Airport, 66 degrees with a north-northwesterly wind at 7 miles an hour. Now that's keeping our air temperatures right now out of the 70s, but more so it's pushing your humidity down. Dew points reading in the mid-30s right now. Crisp autumn air present in the east, but we are starting to see a little bit more warmth across some of our southern communities. We've got 68 showing up really not only through Jacksonville, New Bern, and Oriental, but even in Washington, Edenton, and Elizabeth City. Current warmest spot on the map is Stumpy Point right now, sitting at 70 degrees, but when compared to where we were yesterday, everyone is looking about 7 to 11 degrees colder at this point of the day. So if you're kind of wondering, okay, well, what's the point of the sunshine if we're only going to get colder? Welcome to the fall season. A northwesterly wind is doing a great job of keeping those air temperatures capped in the upper 60s today. Some of us, again, like Stumpy Point, may sneak into the low 70s, but these northwesterly winds at about 6 to 12 miles an hour will continue to keep that cooler air flowing into the region. Now, that area of high pressure is going to do a fantastic job of keeping our skies clear. A secondary cold front will roll in Late Tuesday night into Wednesday, not anticipating much in terms of cloud cover with that system. And if we're not seeing clouds with it, we're certainly not going to be seeing raindrops. So for now, everything is looking very dry throughout eastern North Carolina this week until we get to the tail end of the weekend. Now for the tropics, as you can see, not a whole lot going on across the Atlantic basin, but in the Caribbean, we've got that area of concern has a 50% chance of tropical development over the next 48 hours over a 7-day stretch. That goes up to an 80% chance or a high chance of development. Something, again, we'll continue to keep an eye on, but it's not something that's going to be impacting eastern North Carolina. So as we make our way through the rest of this afternoon, again, air temperatures into the upper 60s. A few of us may try to get into the low 70s. It's going to be easier said than done if it happens at all. I think we'll have a much better opportunity for seeing those 70s show up as we head into tomorrow afternoon, but it will again be a chilly start. 44 degrees by 7 turns to 45 by 8, low 60s by 10, closing in on the 70s by noon. Mid 70s showing up by the time we get to around 2, 3, and 4 p.m. South-southwesterly wind going to do a great job in boosting the heat. Of course, today we're dealing with a northwesterly wind. Getting a southerly component will certainly help warm our temperatures up for tomorrow. But we're not going to be seeing extensive warmth. Mid 70s for both Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we cool back down to more of the low 70s to upper 60s for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of next week, and even Sunday hanging on to those low 70s. But by Sunday, the story is not really going to be the air temperatures, more going to be the opportunity for rain, which at least at this point still looks minimal. But it looks like it's certainly a better chance than what we're going to be experiencing here over the next 5 to 6 days. Well, that's all we have time for today's 1 p.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. We'll be back with more news and weather coming up at the top of the hour. Until then, I hope you all have a fantastic Monday.